Hello everyone. Today I want to show you a video on how to teach toddlers to write. And this is a question that I have gotten many times from many of my subscribers, so I hope you find this video helpful and resourceful. So one of the first things you want to start off with, as early as even 1 year old, is fine motor skills activities. So here I have two today that I want to quickly show you. You can get these pom-poms at the dollar store. You can create your own little container like this. And you have the child practice fine motor skills, putting these little pom-poms through the container as they use their pincer grasp. And also good for hand-eye coordination, which will help with writing later on. And you can find many of these activities on my blog. I have a whole section with pictures on fine motor skills activities, and I will post a link on the description box. Simple activities like this. You can get these pipe cleaners also at the dollar store at Walmart. And you just take an Old Spice container and you can create an activity very, very easily. So start strengthening the hands and getting them ready for writing. So these are pre-writing activities. Another thing that you want to start early on is to get the child to start holding writing utensils. So crayons, pencils, markers. I have these Crayola oval crayons that you can start with children as young as even 9 months old. And you want to give them a piece of paper and you want them to scribble and write and draw whatever they want every day. And this is going to help them strengthen those hands. And it's going to help develop muscular coordination for writing later on. And if you want, you can even start a little portfolio like I did for my child. I started when she was 13 months old, and I started keeping all of her little scribbles. And I used to give her also some paint. So some days I would give her markers, some days I would give her some paint, crayons. And this is wonderful because you can see the child's progress. So beautiful. You can see when the child first drew their first circles, when they first drew their first little person, and it really is something beautiful to look back on. Here you can see she's 20 months old and she's already starting to do circles. And so I'm able to track and see when she drew her first circles, when she drew her first little people. And it is so, 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 so beautiful, guys. I really recommend it. And then when they get older, you can give them this to look at and pass it down. You want to get coloring books that of cartoons or of figures that they are interested in, little animals, and have them color, draw, use their hands at an early age. They don't have to color within the lines. Even if they just scribble, this is going to help strengthen those hands for writing. And then you want to move on to something more structured. And this is a little folder that I created. And these are pre-writing worksheets that I have in here. And these pre-writing worksheets are great. You can laminate them or you can put them in sheet protectors. And you want to start with vertical lines. Just have them trace vertical lines from the top to bottom, top to bottom. Then you want to move on to horizontal lines from one end to the other. Then some slanted lines. You want to move on to pre-writing squares and to zigzag lines finally. And you can get all of these worksheets for free on my blog, so you can start your toddler off right away to start tracing horizontal and vertical lines. Another thing that I did was that I got a Kumon book. I got a Kumon workbook, and this is called the Kumon First Book of Tracing. I went ahead and I laminated it. I took the pages out, laminated it, and I created this here, and I hole punched it, and I put it into this binder. And these are very colorful, and kids love it, and they stay in a path. They do a lot of vertical and horizontal tracing, which is in slanted lines as well. And this is great. You can also put them in sheet protectors, which is actually the cheaper option, and I recommend it better than laminating them like I did. And one last thing that I did was I took a maze book, and I got this one from the School Zone Publishing Company, and I got it for like $2.99. I think it was Pathmark or one of those stores, one of those my local supermarkets. You can probably get at Staples or the dollar store. And they go ahead and follow the path until they get to the end. This is good logic as well for logic practice. and good for helping strengthen those hands for pencil control and muscular coordination. And kids really love it. And they're very colorful. Again, you just put them into sheet protectors and you create their own little binder. And this is a pre-writing binder that you can easily create for very, very cheap. So I definitely recommend that. Once a child has developed good pencil control, you want to move on to help them write letters. Now, you don't want to start with the letter A. There is actually an order in which you can teach letters. I will post a link in the description box where you can find the correct order, or the best order I should say, on how to teach letters. For example, it's easier to start with the letter L than to start with the letter A. Also, you want to start with capital letters because developmentally capital letters are easier to write. And when you start with capital letters, learning to write capitals, when you start learning writing capitals, it makes it an easy transition to lowercase. So you want to provide worksheets like these. I created these, and you can get these for free on my blog as well. These are all capital letters from A through Z, and it shows you the correct way on how to form the letter. This is very important. As you can see, it shows you down and across. You don't want the child to start forming bad habits by going like this. For example, you want them to form the letter the correct way from the beginning. Down and across. Down and across. There is a correct way of writing each letter, and you want them to, from the beginning, to develop the habit of writing the letters the correct way. So you want to start with one letter, and even if it takes you 2 or 3 weeks or even a month to learn how to write that letter, that is totally fine. You want the child to learn how to write their letters correctly right from the start. Then you move on to the next letter, and so on. And again, I will provide the order in which you should teach letters. I will provide a link on the description box. Once they have learned how to trace and also write on their own all of their capital letters, then you want to move on to lowercase letters. And I'm going to show you this morning letters and numbers workbook that I have for my 3-year-old daughter. And this is what she's been working on this year. Basically, this is a workbook in which I created for her, and she gets 1 letter a day and 1 number a day that she works on. So for example, Monday she's going to work on the letter E. So the first thing that she does is I usually provide different manipulatives each day to do the activities in the workbook. So for the first thing that she does is she makes the letter E with whatever manipulative I give her. And this is more for fun than anything else. You want to make learning fun so that the child is engaged and so that the child looks forward to learning and writing every day. So she forms her letter E with whatever manipulatives I give her, and this is just for fun. She could use buttons, you can use beans, you can use erasers, whatever you have at home. Once she does that, she moves on to tracing the letter E. So as you can see, I have capital letter E and also the lowercase e's. And then she goes ahead and she writes upper and lowercase here as well. The next thing that she does is that she does the number for the day. So she traces the number 4, she writes the number 4 on her own, then she tries to find the number 4. This is the good number recognition. And then she puts the number quantity in here with the manipulatives that I have given her for the day. So for example, if I've given her buttons, she would place 4 buttons here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 buttons. So this is a really hands-on way, fun way to learn their numbers. So again, they get 1 letter a day and 1 number a day. The last page is just tracing the number 4 and an actual way of writing the number 4 as well. It teaches how to write the number correctly as well. So I do that in all of my printables. And you guys can get this on my Teachers Pay Teacher site. I will provide a link on the description box. So every day she gets a letter and a number a day, and this provides plenty of practice. She goes all the way up to number 20 and all the way up to letter Z. And it's an excellent way to get children to practice their letters and numbers. So that's the letters and numbers workbook. Once the child has learned to write all of their letters and all of their numbers, you want to move on to sentences. And I have this Creatology story drawing pad, and I go ahead and we write a sentence every day. It can be about a story we read. It can be about anything she's inspired to write about. This one she wrote, I went to the park. And I try to have her start doing punctuation as well. So she draws a picture and she writes a sentence. As you can see, my daughter is still having trouble staying within the lines, but that is fine. She's not 4 yet, so she's a little over 3.5, and she is doing these sentences. So that is one great way of getting kids to enjoy writing. So this is, one more thing that I want to share with you guys is that I almost forgot. One important thing to do is, before you even start getting into writing letters, is to get them to do circles, lots of circles. When they're doing their pre-writing, get them to do counterclockwise circles, because most printed letters use counterclockwise circles when they are written. So you want to get them accustomed to drawing circles. That's really important for writing. So I hope you have gotten a good idea on how to teach toddlers to write. You don't have to go out and purchase a curriculum. You don't have to spend lots and lots of money. It is really simple. Now, I want you guys also to understand that most children will not be able to write until at least the age of 4. So unless you have started working with them at a very, very young age, all children develop at different rates. And hand-eye coordination, muscular coordination, pencil control, fine motor skills are all skills that are developed at different rates for different children. So not all children will learn to write at the same time. So don't get frustrated if your 2 or 3-year-old is still not ready for writing. That is totally fine. Focus on the pre-writing activities, such as tracing maces, tracing horizontal and vertical lines. Get a coloring book. Enjoy those moments. Do their fine motor skills activities, their hands-on activities, and just enjoy those moments with your children. Writing will come naturally. As in terms of pencils, I just use a short, skinny pencil. That's what I have found to work the best for us. Some people use the fatter pencils. I found that the short, skinny pencils work the best. So that's what I recommend. These Crayola oval, you can start using with children really, really young. I really recommend these as well. It really start strengthening those muscles in the hands. I hope I have given you some of my good ideas, guys. The links that I said I would provide, I will be providing them down below so that you can take advantage of all of these resources. I hope this has been helpful. Until the next video. Thanks for watching.